What comes to mind when you think about the biblical book of Esther? If you're anything like me, it's probably the VeggieTales episode that was made several years ago. I remember watching that several times when I was a kid. But aside from that, what comes to mind when you think of the book? I'm guessing the first thing that comes to mind is probably not the story of Noah. And that's unfortunate, because the biblical authors are trying to get you to think of the story of Noah when you read the story of Esther. Here's why. Let's look really fast at Genesis 8, verse 1. God remembered Noah and every living thing and all the cattle that was with him in the ark, and God made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters assuaged. Gotta love that old King James word assuaged there. Doubt you've used that in a sentence this week. But the Hebrew word behind it is the word shakak. And shakak means to go down, to lessen, to decrease. And it is a relatively rare word in the Hebrew Bible. It doesn't show up many times. But two of the times that it does show up are in the book of Esther. The first one is in Esther 2, verse 1. Let's look at that. After these things, when the wrath of King Ahasuerus was appeased, he remembered Vashti and what she had done and what was decreed against her. Now, to give you the little bit of background here, King Ahasuerus was not a great guy. He had a wife that was named Vashti, and supposedly she was very beautiful. He was having this huge party with all of his friends who had gotten pretty drunk, and he commanded his wife Vashti to come out and parade herself before all of his drunk friends at this party. She understandably refused. He did not think that was so understandable, and so he decides to get rid of her and have a beauty pageant for the prettiest girl in the land to become his next bride. And that's how Esther comes into the story. He is a very chaotic, unpredictable person in the book. He is frequently depicted as making these snap judgments where he should have taken a little bit more time to think through his decision. And that's where this word shakak comes in, because it is the word for appeased here in chapter 2 of Esther. So when it says that his wrath was appeased, it means that it decreased, it went down. It's the same word used to describe how the floodwaters went down in chapter 8 of Genesis. That's important because that means King Ahasuerus is being depicted like the chaotic floodwaters. And he very much fits that bill. He is a very chaotic person throughout this story. And the word shows up one more time at the end of the story to say his wrath was appeased after judgment was made against Haman. So by using this terminology, the biblical authors are trying to get you to read the Esther story in light of the Noah story. You're supposed to see King Ahasuerus as this chaotic king, almost like an ocean where you can't control the waves of the ocean. They're probably going to overtake you. They are very unpredictable. And that's the way that Ahasuerus acts in the story. And then there are other hyperlinks, like how Noah is delivered through a box made of wood, and Esther finds deliverance for her people also through wood, this time a pole that Haman is hanged on or possibly even impaled on at the end of the book. So this is the way that the Bible works. There are these little words that the authors will put in these stories to hyperlink back and forth and get you to reread the story in light of what you know from that other story where the word first appeared. So let me know in the comments if there are any other connections to the Noah story you can find in the book of Esther. I'd love to hear them.